Hi guys, it's Emily from Novell Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my November wrap-up part 2. Now I'm going to start obviously a little chatty bit to catch up with you guys at the start of the video, just to let you know that November was a really hard month for me, and my younger sister ended up in hospital after having COVID. So she had COVID, then got better and then got poorly and then was in hospital for a little bit. And my knee has decided that it's reacting to this cold weather, so I'm getting some flares, which has not been nice. Thomas has had a bit of a hard month with his own little stuff, and yeah, it's been quite a hard month. So it has affected my reading. Yes, I've still read quite a few books, and the lovely guys from my booktube waffle group, they reminded me that I've read loads of books, but for me it wasn't as much as normal. But again, I've got to stop beating myself up. I've read more than a book a day, considering I'm filming this on the 30th and all my books got finished on the 29th. Admittedly, one was right at the end of the day, like nearly 11 o'clock at night last night. But I read loads. But for me, it's been a really hard month. I am hoping that December's going to be a lot better. On the plus side, my sister's will get all better and she's home, and that's great. And my other sister Charlie's been absolutely amazing. Charlie is literally my best friend in the world, and through everything she's just amazing. And I also want to thank you guys, thank my friends on booktube, my book group. They are absolutely amazeballs, and all of you that have been there. I'll be honest, when things are rough I tend to go quiet. That's why I've not been on Instagram as much, and obviously my videos are still going up because this channel means the world to me. You guys are amazing. I'm just so lucky with my subscribers. I've got amazing ones, and you guys have got me to my 1k, which is just a dream come true. It was always a goal that I wanted to get to, and making my videos and talking to you guys has just literally kept me going. You do not know how grateful I am for it, and I've had my books, and I'm just so grateful for all of you, so thank you so much. Now, the next couple of minutes will be my boring stats, but I like these ones. I get all excited by my figures now. God, I'm getting as bad as Gemma. God, Gemma from Gemma Books. She's really good with her stats. Anyway, so I read 32 books this month, which is amazing. Can't believe it. Admittedly, 3 got finished yesterday, so yeah, that's shocking. And they were all off my unread TBR, so that has meant that I've done well. The next video after this will be my book haul, and I bought 21 books and I got gifted 2, so I gained 23 books. I unhauled 2 books off my unread TBR because I've been told they're a bit too YA for me, so not to read them. So that's another positive. My November unread TBR was 373 books, and my October unread TBR was 373 books. My November unread TBR, guys, I told you my brain. It is. November to unread TBR was 373 books. December unread TBR is actually 362 books. So I got it down by 11 minus. I am not going to kill myself in December. December is the Christmas month. As of the day that this film goes filming, this goes up on the 2nd of December. The following day, I'm putting my Christmas tree up with the kids. Elf on the Shelf's back. December is about the family. It is going to be solidly, I will be doing, as you've seen my TBR for December, I've got a lot better books, a lot more gentler books. Only got one, I think it's 1 classic, so that's going to be harder. But I'm going to be really gentle on myself. So, and if I get books for Christmas, I'm not going to beat myself up. If I want to buy books this month, again, I'm not going to beat myself up. My unread TBR is a lot lower than the 400 goal that I'd set myself. So now, if it goes up a little bit, I'm not going to beat myself up. And sorry guys, I have got slightly got the sniffles this month. Nothing to worry about, but it's just sniffles. But anyway, so I had 1 unrated book this month, 1 2-star book, 1 2.5-star book, 4 3-star books, 2 3.5-star books, 8 4-star books, 3 5-star books, and I lost count of them. And the rest will be 5 stars because I've not counted. So hang on a minute, let me see if I can use my maths here. 1 2 3 7 7 and 2 and 9 9 and 8 17 17, 20, 17 had 3s, 20, yeah, so, God, that's loads of 5-star books. So that's like 13 5-star books. That's like 12 5-star books. That's brilliant. Didn't realise, wow. Why did I not add up the 5-star books at the end? Sorry about this. So now, enough waffling. Let me show you the books that I've read in the second half of the month. So these are my 3-star books. The first one is the Maureen Lee Leaving of Liverpool. It's about two sisters that were supposed to be leaving their island, and they get separated at the docks, and they got separated in 1925 by accident. And one sister stays in America and has one upbringing. The other sister ends up in Liverpool and has another. So it's quite different. It's spread over quite a long time, as Maureen Lee's books tend to do. I must admit, I'm kind of going off her books because they very, very similar, very tragic, very depressing, and I must admit I've had enough now. So I think I may not pick up any more of her books. So that's just, it's 3 stars because it was still great writing, but they're very, very similar, and I just get a bit bored. When authors tend to put the same books out all the time, it kind of gets me a bit ugh. No, but like I said, those 3 stars is still good. None of them are bad. The second was Christmas at the Little Wedding Shop. I read the first book, which is something about the wedding shop, and I read it ages ago. So when I started reading this book, I was like, I did not remember the lead character in this book is Seraphina East, who's the wedding dress designer. And I thought, I don't remember her from the last book, but I think she was a secondary character in the first book. So it's when I saw again the person that was the lead character in the first book that it was like, oh, that clicks, that makes sense. So it took me a really long time to get into this. It's about weddings and it's the wedding of this girl's big sister Alice, and it's all right, but it's very much wedding shopping for someone that's been engaged for forever and it doesn't know if they'll ever get married. Just got a bit like, do you know what? I don't really need this. It was a good book, but it did take a while to get into, and I won't be continuing with this series. So bye bye. And then the book that I finished yesterday, because it was one of the last books I read. I read this one and then 2 other ones. I read 2 books in a day. Like this I only read like 20 pages yesterday morning. And then I read 2 books in a day. What the hell was yesterday? And that was after me doing Christmas shopping. Am I mad or what? Actually, don't answer that one, you lot. This one, I thought there was chickens. And I thought I bought this purely and simply because my sister Charlie used to love chickens, and I thought she would always own chickens. She never did. But that was simply why I bought it. Didn't realise that chickens are only a very small part of this book, and it's actually about an open marriage. This couple that go into an open marriage for 6 months, thinking that by having the open marriage, that's going to reignite the spark in their marriage. Doesn't kind of end up that way, really. So it's kind of about cheating, and some bits of it's glamorised, and other bits about, is the grass always greener on the other side? It's got an autistic child in it, which is actually I thought was handled quite well, but no, it wasn't. Some bits of it I can see and I can understand because their child is what's called a special, and certain parental challenges that go with that I can imagine are tough. Yeah. And that was done all right. It wasn't done brilliantly, but it was done all right. But the glamorisation of the cheating, and that's not glamorisation if anything, because it does show you how bad it is. But yeah, I wasn't sure about that one. But bye-bye. It's going bye-byes. So that was literally, and then my 3.5-star book of the month was Middlemarch by George Eliot. Now, Tori's read it. I was reading it with Tori from Good Strong Words, and she rated it 5 stars, and she loved it. But I don't know if I only rated it 3.5 stars because of the month that I was having. I read it over the whole month, and it's like massive. It's nearly 800 pages, this book. And to read it over the month when my concentration was gone, there was so many characters. There wasn't that many lead characters, but I didn't connect with them as much as I wanted to. It's mainly about Dorothea Brooke and Tertius Lydgate. And it was okay. It was all right. It just wasn't amazeballs for me. Dorothea Brooke had a very, she gets put into a marriage and it has a tragic turn, and Tertius Lydgate, I can't remember, how much of this I read and how much of this I took in. I can't honestly remember. It's all right, but it does make me scared whether I'm going to like Adam Bede, and I've got a couple of other books, and Daniel Deronda. Daniel Deronda is on my list for classics for 2023. Sneaky peek, I'm doing that list soon. So I'm hoping I like it. Let's just see how I do. But it was all right, and it's one I'm keeping, but it wasn't one I connected. I like Dorothea's actual sister more, even though I can't remember her name. And that's the thing, my brain is just buzz at the moment. So that was my 3.5-star book. Now on to 4-star books, and some of these are getting kept because even though they're 4 stars, they were good 4 stars. The first one was a book that I'm not sure if it's fiction or non-fiction. It was given to me by the lovely Charlie from Charles Heathcote, and it's an independent author, John Winkler, and he's the husband of one of Charlie's friends, Joy, and I got given this book for my birthday. And this is mainly about the wartime books. This is mainly set in wartime, but it's got 3 different sort of lead characters. And I flew through this in like a day. I found it so fascinating. Yes, it's 4 stars, but it was about Johan and his sisters. And Johan goes off, becomes a prisoner. And I think there's actually another character, but there's different perspectives, and it's set in the wartime. I think it's more fiction than non-fiction. And yeah, the main characters, Johan, Sophie, Sarah and Marie Winkler, and then Hans Flaggener. And it's their non-fiction story about sort of set in the wartime, and it's quite interesting actually. It's one I would definitely recommend, but it is an independent book, so keeping this, but it's going back on my shelf. But I found this quite fascinating. I think I'm going to put it with my non-fiction. I'll put it there. Then a book I picked up because I bought it because it's gorgeous, and it was all over BookTube, I think, last year. And The Beekeeper of Aleppo was this author's first book, and I might actually keep this, or I'm going to let my mum read it. I'm not sure whether to keep it or not, because Songbirds was far better than The Beekeeper of Aleppo in my eyes. It's historical fiction, but it's got a bit of magical realism in it, and it's quite interesting. And I just really actually flew through it. This was another one I flew through in, I think, a day. I think I flew through it last Saturday when I was off. Nisha had crossed oceans to give her child a future. By day, she cares for Petra's daughter. By night, she mothers her own little girl by the light of the phone. One day, Nisha vanishes. No one cares about her disappearance of a domestic worker except for Petra and Nisha's lover, Yanis. As they set out to search for her, they realise how little they knew about Nisha, and what they will uncover will change them both forever. This was actually quite fascinating. I think I'm going to let my mum read it and then see whether I keep it or not, because it was far better than The Beekeeper of Aleppo, and I enjoyed it far more. I flew through it, I found it a beautiful book, and it really kind of got me. So yes, that was a really good 4 stars. Then the penultimate book of the month that I finished, these next 2 books are books that I literally read yesterday. I read in one day. First one is Cold Feet at Christmas by Debbie Johnson. She has got the potential of being a favourite author, favourite contemporary author. But this one was 4 stars because it was very saucy. It was so short that I flew through it in a day. Flew through it in a few hours, to be honest. It's literally less than 200 pages. About 200 pages, and I flew through it so quickly. It's 4 stars, but it's a top end 4 stars because I did fly through it. Lot of graphic sexy scenes in it. A lot of naughty stuff in it. So mum's not going to want that one. But it's about Leah Harvey, who literally arrives at this Scottish castle on Christmas Eve, and as like in a wedding dress, literally just completely, she's obviously run away from her bride, and then she meets this sexy guy called Roberto, I think his name is, and then this is their relationship then spans the year, and it's really good, really fast paced, really enjoyable, really good 4 stars. But yeah, still do it to church, so I want other people to read it. And then I think this next one I'm going to give to my other sister, Charlie Brooke. An award-winning story, and this was the one literally I finished at like 10:30 last night. An award-winning story about family survival in a small fishing village in India. This is a middle grade historical fiction book, and it literally was so easy to read, but so hard-hitting as well. For a middle grade, it's very hard-hitting. Basically, their mother, these 2 lead characters, Leela and Harry, their mother is very poorly, and their father is, I think, is pretty much an alcoholic, drinks a lot. And they have to earn the money, and they have to look after their younger 2 siblings, and this is their story. And I really enjoyed it. Really thought it was really good, and definitely wanted to read that. So now I'm trying to make sure my pile doesn't fall over. So now to my 4.5-star books. These ones are, this one's certainly is going to get kept, and that's Still Life by Sarah Winman. I think Mum might want to read it, I'm not sure. It's really good. Actually, I'll see if Mum wants to read this one, because I think she'll like this. I talk about her all the time, don't I? I tend to give books to her to see what she thinks. But this one will get kept. It was given to me by by my sister for my birthday, and it spans a lot longer than I thought. It's my first Sarah Winman that's historical fiction, and it's had real mixed reviews all over BookTube. It was up for one of the awards. I can't remember, the BookTube prize, and I think it was up for the Women's Prize. And to me, I really enjoyed it. It was so much better than I expected. 4.5 stars, but it was just, I don't know why I didn't get the 5, because it was so good. We start off in Italy, and as the bombs fall around them, two strangers meet in the ruined cellar of the Tuscan villa and share an extraordinary evening. Ulysses Temper is a young British soldier. Evelyn Skinner is a 64-year-old art historian living life on her own terms. She's come to salvage paintings from the wreckage of war and relive memories of her youth. And it's their stories, but their stories don't connect until like at least halfway through, but they would kind of have their stories running alongside. But the only thing I will say is there's no speech marks. And I think that was literally the only thing that knocked it 0.5 stars, because I find that really hard. But the writing is incredible. It's a bit magical. It's really good fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's one that, if you like, again, a little bit of magic, it's got great LGBTQI plus references. It's done brilliantly. It's got loads of characters that you love and hate, and I found it really fascinating. Did not want to put it down. Read it so quickly. Yeah, that's going to be a keepie. Let's see if Mum wants it first. Another one that's keepy is a book that my daughter Mia gave me for my birthday this year, and that's Other Women by Kathy Kelly. 4.5 stars, because it wasn't, I don't know, it's brilliant book. 3 women, 3 secrets, 3 tangled lives. You do not get how they're connected at the start, but it does tackle some issues in this, and I will give you, obviously I think I put the triggers on there, but Sid wears her independence like an armour, so when she strikes up a rare connection with the unlucky in love Finn, they're both determined that men and women can be friends. Yeah, right. Half the time that doesn't work out. Although I have got male friends, so I can't really say that. Marion has the perfect home, attentive husband, 2 beloved children, and a secret addiction to designer clothes. She knows she has it all, so why can she not stop comparing herself to other women? And then you've got B, who believes that we all have one love story, and she's had hers, and her life centres around her son, because her husband got killed very early. We find out he got killed very early on in this book. And this is really good. It's a really good contemporary about female friendship, how we do tend to look at our lives and compare them to others, and it's really good. I really enjoyed it. It's keepy. Yeah, I think Mum might like that one as well, actually. I'm going to borrow that one. And then to my last 4.5 star book, and that's Beautiful Broken Things by Sarah Bernard. Don't think this is a Mum book. I'm not going to keep it, because even though it's 4.5 stars, it's just very YA, and I think I had to rate it 4.5 stars because I had to imagine that I was YA, but I'm an oldie, and this is set about sort of young girls, how they're sort of, I think they were like 15, 16 in this book, and they have some really, Caddy's like wanting something exciting in her life, and then you've got someone that new comes into hers and her friend Rosie's friendship, and it makes things different. But it's very YA. It's got some real triggers in this for abuse and things like that. So be aware going into that about that. But it's very good. Writing's fantastic. I just think I'm too old for this author. So that is going to be a charity shop one. And now to my 5 stars. I've got 6 here. See if you can predict which one of those is going to be my favourite on the second half of the month. And then I'll let you know my favourite non-fiction book. So the first of the 5 stars is Stacey Dooley, Women on the Front Line. And this is one of her earlier books, and this is set sort of, she wrote this very early on in her sort of career, and it sort of basically talks about the start of her career. And she does talk about all the different places she goes to and the different documentaries she makes. So you have different things in this book that you have to go into this book being aware that you are going to tackle some really hard-hitting issues. You've got immigration on one chapter. You've got there's some other ones. I'm just looking at here, and the immigration, and where is another one? We've got paedophilia, we've got femicide, we've got, oh my god, we've got so many hard-hitting issues in different countries, and this woman, and Stacey goes to visit these women that have survived all this, and it's amazing, and it's very hard-hitting, very, very strong, but the writing is incredible. What Stacey did to promote these women who fight back and shows us the strength of women is amazing. So yes, it's 5 stars. Yes, I'm not keeping it because it is hard-hitting and I want other people to read that. So the next one is a contemporary. It's the penultimate book, I believe, in the Lyndhurst series. It's the last one I had to read before I read my Christmas book, the new release this month. And this is The Christmas Wish List by Heidi Swain. You know all her books are 5 stars. You know all I love this. And this one is basically around about Hattie, who agrees to join her. At the start of this book, she is basically sacked from her job, and she agrees to move to Dubai, I think, or somewhere, to be with her husband, to be with her boyfriend. But then before that, her best friend, her older friend Dolly, who is like an older protagonist, invites her to go back to Windbridge to see the Christmas season and try and get her Christmas spirit back. And she writes a Christmas wish list. And it's their goal together to fulfill this Christmas wish list and get Hattie's Christmas spirit back. And yeah, things don't turn out the way they expect. And there is a bit of romance and there's things. But there are some triggers in this that I didn't expect. And you have to be aware of that going in. Or even if you don't, just be aware there are going to be triggers and you are going to have to be aware of that. If you want to know them, let me know. But Heidi Swain has written it perfectly, and she's really showed the strength of women, and she really did portray this abuse. And I think it showed so much that how we can kind of, people that are in this situation can kind of not realise they are. And I think for me, who has been, yeah, it's very hard hitting but really, really good. And Dolly is one of my favourite older protagonists. Heidi Swain writes amazing characters. I love Hattie. I love Dolly. I love going back and meeting older characters from other books in the series. Brilliant, brilliant book. Absolutely loved it. I think Mum's read that series. Yeah, I think Mum's going to want to borrow that as well. Then another non-fiction book, a foster care book, Kathy Glass, and this is A Terrible Secret. All of these books are non-fiction. They're basically people. They're not the actual people's names. They're not the children that have been fostered names or real names. But this one is about Tilly, who hates her stepfather Dave. He abuses her mother, but she refuses to leave him. Frightened for her own safety, Tilly asks to go into foster care, and that's their story. This is one of the newer books, I believe, because Kathy's also got her own family's tales as well, and that's sort of carry on. What I love about Kathy Glass books are that you can go onto her website and find out what happened to these children and how they ended up and how their story continued after they left Kathy. Brilliant, brilliant book. Then a book I wasn't going to pick up because I told you at the start of the month. I only bought it in the start of December, in the start of November, and I don't read a book within the month of buying it. It's actually on my November book haul, and I've read it the same month. Purely because my mum read the first one and now wants to read this one. So mum's going to have a big pile of books coming to her. And this is Letters from the Past, and it carries on from another book. And I can't remember for the life of me what the other book is. Why do I not remember? It carried on from another book, and it's blooming annoyed me because you had to kind of read it. Where is it? My brain. Yes, one of you guys told me about this book that it carries on. And one of you guys told me about it, and I was like, right, okay, so I have to kind of read this. And why is it not here? Yeah, it follows on from Coming Home to Island House. And this one, literally, you follow on. And it's mad. But where's the hell Romilly? Apparently it carries on from another book. So apparently Romilly's story was in another book. Bloody hell, so there might have been a book before this. But yeah, basically I had to read it because it carried on from that book, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I thought it was absolutely incredible, and now I'm going to have to go through and find out what the first book is. And it's set 20 years on from that going home to Skylark Cottage. And this one mainly centres around Evelyn, Hope, Julia and Romilly. Romilly is one of my favourite characters ever. I have to keep saying favourite, but she really is. She's my favourite character in this series. I love her even more. And we meet other new characters. We returned Julia as a new character. Hope and Evelyn are Romilly from the first book. And this is 500 pages and I read it in 2 days. Flipping fan-bloody-tastic. I love this author's work. She's found out she's got a new book coming out next spring. I'll buy it, no question. Loved it. Then another book I bought very quickly after buying it. Read very, and this is Defend the Dawn, which is the sequel to Defy the Night. I will say that this is 5 stars, but I found this slightly harder to get into than the other second in the series. And I can't remember what that was. See, my brain's really dead at the moment. And this is basically about the revolution is simmering in the... It follows on from Defy the Night, so I really can't tell you too much about this. But we've got Tessa Carday, who's... on the first book was a real outlaw. But yet this... And then she's got her Luke that she loves, Corrick, from the first book. And then you've got Corrick's brother, the King, and you get his story a bit more in this. And King Harriston. You kind of meet him a bit more, which I love. This is hard-hitting. But yet again, the author, because this is the second in what is going to be a trilogy, she's left me gagging for the next book, because the one thing that I would say that made it definitely a 5-star is that when I left this book, I screamed at the last few pages because I couldn't believe she'd left us on that bigger cliffhanger. That is what this author does. This one took me a bit longer to get into because I think it'd been a while since I read Defy the Night. Next time I need to remember to read the books really close together again. I need to reread the first books. Because I'm going to read, I think as soon as I find out when the third book is out, I'm going to read them all close together. Because it did take me a while to remember the storylines and remember the characters. Because this one is not at all connected to the Cursebreaker series or the Cursebreaker connected series. So this is completely different. And Defy the Night was a bit too, like, COVID for my liking with one of the twists in it. But yeah, it's really good. Still 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. I won't want that one, but I'm going to keep that one. And then the last book was Ballroom Blitz by Anton Dubek, which I got given as a part of a mail out by Tandem. It's my ad, PR product, whatever. And this is, I don't know if this is the last in the series or if he will write any more in the series. I know he's got another book that's coming out next year, but it's not, but I don't think that's connected. It's called Taking to the Stage. I don't know if, oh yeah, it's a brand new series. So I don't know if he'll carry on this series or if it's the last in the series. But this is brilliant. It carries on from the whole series and it's absolutely incredible. Chunky as, but I loved it. It was a brilliant, brilliant book. It's carried on from the Enchanted Evening series and I loved it. 5 stars all the way. It goes, we go back to characters that we love. We meet new characters. It's absolutely, yeah, it's like a hug. The back, Philip Schofield said that it's like a hug and it really is. It's absolutely incredible book. Don't want to tell you too much because it is connected to all the other books, but yeah, very emotional and very good. So this is a very long video. My favourite non-fiction. Let's see if any of you guessed what my favourite book of the second half is and my favourite non-fiction. My favourite non-fiction book is Dear Reader, which I read in the first half of the month, no question. That's actually going on my favourites for the year so far. But my favourite of this second half of the month is going to be Letters from the Past by Erica James. Yes, I loved Defend the Dawn. Yes, I loved all of my 5-star books, The Ballroom Blitz. This one, even though it was chunky, I did not want to put it down. It was one of the best books I've read, and I'm so bloody grateful I've read it. Not one of the best books I've read this year. It's not going to be in that series, that selection, but it was an amazing book, and I thoroughly, thoroughly loved it. So let me know down below what's been your favourite book of the month. What books have you read that have really stood out to you? Yeah, I look forward to hearing you soon. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.